Good morning. Could you kindly introduce yourself to everyone, and could you let us know what your title is and the department that you are heading at Bentel Associates International?
Thank you, Palesa. My name is Tim Harlech-Jones, and I am the Executive Director of Bentel Associates International. I also head up the hospitality department, and having been involved personally with the design and implementation of hotels and resorts since 1998. From our Johannesburg office, we deal with hotel projects across Africa and the Indian Ocean Islands, and parts of the Middle East and Southern Europe. Our Indian business, which is headquartered in Mumbai, typically deals with the subcontinent, Middle Eastern and Asian Rim regions.
Great, thank you for that. Now, could you tell us, how do you kickstart the creative process when it comes to a five-star hotel design?
Yeah, so historically, Bentel has successfully delivered quite a number of amazing hospitality projects over the years. I think going back, we very much have been put in the retail box, but I think, historically, we've over the years, we've also completed the likes of the Michelangelo Hotel, Monte Cassino, which includes the Palazzo Hotel, Legacy Corner, which contains the Da Vinci Hotel, the Hilton Sandton, Southern Sun Ora Tambo, which are all in Johannesburg, the Stay Easy in Lusaka, Stay Easy in Pietermaritzburg. So, as you can see, they're very much sort of a historical experience in the delivery, design and implementation of hospitality products. So, and you can also see that it's very much across multiple brands and segments. So it's not only sort of a five-star segment. We have finished off quite a number of 3, 4, and 5-star properties over the years. And more recently, I would say over the last 5 or 6 years, we have expanded our architectural offering to include interior design services, wayfinding and signage, and green building accreditation for hotel properties, amongst other asset classes. And our most recent hotel projects, which opened last year, include the 390-key Marriott Hotel and Marriott Executive Apartments in Melrose Arch, Johannesburg, and the 248-key OR Tambo Hotel and Convention Center in Johannesburg. And our team consists of a number of senior architects and candidate architects, interior designers, which includes FF&E specialists, graphic designers, and green building specialists. And we are lucky to have quite an amazing team here who have worked together on some really, really exciting hotel projects over the years. We are working on quite a number of with a number of the major hotel brands or international brands across multiple branding segments, from budget, as I said, through to mid-market and right through to luxury and ultra-luxury resorts and boutique properties.
Bentel really does have quite a wealth of experience, and I believe it's all 61 years this year of architectural experience.
Absolutely. As you can see, it's quite a call it a wealth of experience, and I think that bodes well for the future. And with especially, look, it's all about a team, right? And I think that's important to understand, that it's about a team effort. It's about bringing expertise to the table across different facets: design, implementation, execution, etc. And I think we've got that team, and we've got a great team behind us or with us.
That's fantastic. Now, Bentel's hospitality projects spread across Africa and the Middle East. I think you've touched briefly on that. Now, how does keeping a sense of place factor in your design process?
Yeah, so although a hotel might be bound by certain brand standards, it is important to identify the hotel with the locale. And when I mean the locale, it can be a country, it can be a town, it can be a city, it can be a cultural identity. Yeah. And it's something which brings a particular uniqueness to the property. So I very much, when I look at a hotel, call it design, we do look at a storyline. I think that's quite important to develop in a design process. And we find that there are two layers to this. One is the external facade, and then the other being the interiors. And they all go hand in hand. They're all sort of, because it's all about the guest experience. As one arrives, you experience the facade, you walk into the hotel, you then experience the interiors, you then walk outside. So it's all integrated into one design process. And it's really very much how this guest moves through the property and what they experience from an architectural and interior response point of view, which sympathizes with the location of the hotel or the resort. And that's very much how I see the sense of place being such an important role in the design process.
Sure. Now, looking at the fact that we are faced with the pandemic and a number of things do need to change, so what hotel design trends do you see emerging in the future with what we are currently faced with?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think, it's very much also, it's about today, but sustainability is about also looking at the future. And I think in terms of the future, there's more more to the future than just robot services and virtual reality experiences. I mean, that's what everyone's talking about, right? The future of hospitality includes innovations that I think will positively transform the industry in general across a number of different operational and design elements. And it must be said that over the years, technology has definitely developed exponentially, and the hotel industry is constantly looking and keeping up with these advancements as the industry grows. But I do see the future of hospitality does not only focus on technology, as hospitality's focus is the human element. In order to give the guest the full experience of the property, the hospitality sector definitely has to look at the guest needs. And after this recent pandemic, I think there's definitely something to consider with going forward, how that engages in the design process. And I definitely don't foresee that the physical connection and experiences will ever be removed from a design, but it's definitely about the touch points with that in mind, and particular areas in focus in making sure that guests are comfortable in the environment. And this is very much particular to where we are now with the pandemic, and going forward, how we would plan the hotel property. And that means that I think, and this is my view, is that we can see fundamental changes in how we plan the hotel spaces, the lobbies, the guest rooms, the food and beverage offerings, how we place a buffet, how we deal with it, how we design it. And in particular, there's also the multifunctional and flexible spaces, which really much, are meeting rooms, conferences, etc., that I think will require more of a connection to the outdoor space. And so you have a more natural and ecological solution to that process. And we've also noticed that many brands are shifting away from homogenization and uniformity towards a more localized approach. And I think, I mentioned that earlier in terms of, we talked about it in terms of sense of space. And brand standards are very much relevant, while the design intention is bespoke and reflective of the community and the location. Remember, it's about identity. We don't want to be placing hotels in just all over the place that have no identity to their locale, which creates a sort of sense of space, a sense of place. And this is particularly, due to the aspirations, I think, of global travelers and their prevalence for an experience over a commodity. But also, it's historically been driven by the smaller independent operators. There are countless ways in which innovation will play a part in the future of hospitality. I think one of the other aspects is flexibility, by creating spaces that will evolve with the realities of public health, as well as with the needs and preferences of guests. And more importantly, these concepts and innovations will need to be designed with an eye for the future, whilst making sure that they serve the purpose of the current demands and guest experience. And I think that's very much what we call a sustainable approach. And I'll carry on and I'll allude to that as we go further through the discussion.
Sure. I think with what you've said, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the designs pertaining to what the future does hold. So what would you think are the challenges and opportunities of being more sensitive to the environment and sustainable materials?
Yeah, so, we are definitely constantly always looking at ways to enhance the use of sustainable design techniques and principles. And and this is very much to create a more resilient future. And, this is very much back to the whole sustainability approach that we have in terms of our design process. But in order to realize this, I always look back at the earliest examples of architecture and design, because they respond very well to site and climate, and they incorporate natural passive climate control strategies. And I think one of the most common and sustainable methods is just, to maintain good orientation practices. It's just about how you orientate the building, north, south, east, west, etc., and how you use shading devices. Remember, in certain areas, a high thermal insulation factor, utilizing high ceilings, breezeways, other design solutions, in order to cool the environment. And it should be said that these passive interventions are definitely the preferred choice, because this leads us to the growing focus on sustainability design and is more efficiently in tune with our environment. And one of the inhibiting factors of employing sustainability and green building principles into a project is the perception of cost. I always find, when you're working with clients, you start talking about these fundamental elements and sustainability and green building. And I think sometimes that it becomes quite an inhibiting factor. So my philosophy is always to keep it passive, basically using good, solid architectural principles and using services which don't cost more money, like low flow restrictors. It doesn't cost much more to put these in, but it helps in terms of operational costs going forward. Motion detector lights across the passages and basement parking or whatever it might be. These all help. They're just basic applications that don't cost more. So, therefore, I see it, in order to stay ahead of the curve regarding these new construction techniques and using creative reuse or upcycling of materials, landscaping design interventions or innovations, these will help us to develop and to deliver low impact, connected, beautiful and well-conceived hotel and resorts. So, I've covered quite a few topics today, and hopefully I've been able to put some interesting thoughts and ideas and give the viewers a little bit more information about, how we go about our design interventions. If you would like more information, I'm very much happy to get hold of me at any time. And you can also visit our website, our new website, www.bentel.net, and you can make contact with us through that.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for imparting knowledge and information with regards to your division, your hospitality division. And yes, please visit Bentel's website. That is www.bentel.net. Thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you, Palesa. Appreciate it.